Bloggy Friend Show.
What's up, Bloggy friends? Famous Ashley Grant here, and I'm so excited to bring you Lauren. And she and I, we have battle scars together, girl. And I am so excited to talk about the big thing that no one talks about, but they should be, and that's boundaries in ghost blogging. So, Lauren, tell me a little bit about what you do and how your business works.
Well, I've been doing writing professionally for other people for 12 years, and we met.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, it's that long. Crazy.
Wow.
And we met very early in that time span when I was just sort of figuring out that I needed boundaries, actually. And I started out in travel journalism, and that was when the economy tanked and there were no jobs and journalism was going under and you couldn't get any gigs at newspapers or magazines. Nobody was hiring. So that turned a lot of writers to marketing, and then I sort of fell into ghost blogging. That is exactly what that is. It is ghostwriting for people's blogs, pretending you are them, writing their blog posts for them so they don't have to because they're busy entrepreneurs. And that's where I got my start. And then that slid into software as a service, ghost blogging, thought leadership. That's a good little catchphrase. Thought leadership articles on customer success. And I did that for a long time. And then I got really done with software as a service and switched my entire business to just doing copywriting, which is different. That is very different from blogging. Blogging is content. Copywriting is the words that make people buy stuff now. So that's what I do, and I do it for coaches. So I'm completely out of the tech sphere. I work with the woo-woo folks who have crystals and essential oils and all of that good stuff, and they heal and they read tarot cards. They're super fun folks. And I'm loving life right now. But yeah, back in the day, my bread and butter was ghost blogging.
I can definitely relate to that because in 2007, that's when I began my journey into writing. And 2009, that's when I started blogging. 2011, that's when I went pro, so to speak. And then about 2013 is when, I don't know what happened, but everything dried up. Like that's when all of the gigs that I was doing under my own name, they disappeared. And January 2014, when I say to you that ghost blogging literally dropped in my lap, that's not an exaggeration. I had never heard of ghost blogging. I never knew that was even a thing. And lo and behold, the woman that we shall not mention,
she who shall not be named.
Exactly. She who shall not be named. She called me and, she had my business card from a Channel 10 event that I had done for Metromix. Channel 10 was it was in Tampa, and Metromix was, I guess you'd call it an affiliate of Channel 10. Gannett was the owner, like the big company that owned everything. And Metromix was like this big new hip thing they were trying to create. And so I was covering a lot of events under that umbrella. And I was giving out my card everywhere I went. I was like, if you ever need anything, call me, blah, blah, blah. And as things started to widen down in 2013, lo and behold, 2014 starts, and this particular person calls me and they're like, hey, I need a blog writer because I want to promote my business and I literally do not have time to do it. And I was like, well, yes. And I was like, well, work is drying up. I've never done anything as a ghost, but hey, if the bills are being paid, I'm in. And
That never bothered me. Like not taking the credit just never ever bothered me at all. I kind of loved using other people's experiences, using their stories, using their knowledge, and just making that into beautiful words on their website. No problem.
Real talk, I can't say that at all. I used to joke that I didn't get the credit, but I'll take their cash.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm the girl that was dubbed famous Ashley Grant, quote unquote, whenever I was working for Channel 10. And so the idea of not being able to tell anyone what I was writing hurt me in my soul. But at the same time, it was like, I'm able to get these people's voices out there. I'm able to help them promote their message. And so that's what drove me. That's what encouraged me to keep going. So, but one particular person that you and I both know with,
she started both of our careers, really.
She really did. And,
really did.
Yes. And that's actually how, if I'm not mistaken, that's how we met, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And for anybody who's listening to this, I know we're being a little bit vague, but it's because we will not name names. We're trying to protect the guilty. But the reality is, the person that we're both referring to, she was very much I will say this. She's brilliant at marketing. I've never met anyone in my life who's more confident than this person.
Her ability to self-promote.
Oh my God. Her ability to tell people you need to buy from me. She was the queen of marketing. However, her, for lack of a better phrase, her demeanor was frightening at best.
Yeah, she did have a bit of a scary side for sure. Gosh, when I think of how much anxiety I would have every time she would call, it was just through the roof.
Yes. And one particular moment that told me I needed to stop working for this person. I don't remember exactly what day it was, but I ended up in the ER. I don't know if you know this story.
No.
I had what doctors called was an anxiety attack, but at the time, I literally believed I was having a heart attack. In that moment, I knew I could not keep working for this person. However, I was so hurting for cash. I kept powering forward until my anniversary of that year. On my wedding anniversary of that year, I found out that this particular person was selling my work at 4 times the cost to other people. She demanded that I write these posts for much less than I wanted at a ridiculous discount because she was going to save my career. Yes.
Positioning herself as the savior of, that is very, that's very on brand.
Yes. And so that day I wrote every single post I owed her. I had a whole bunch of posts in my queue and I wrote every single one of them. And the next week I sent her a message that said I had taken a job full time and I couldn't write for her anymore.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds very familiar. So we're, I love that we're coming together now, after all this time and sharing how to, cause the golden thing that I got from working with her, and I had similar experiences, is it taught me how to spot red flags a mile away. I have superpowers now for avoiding that kind of client.
Yes. Well, speaking of that, tell me, what are your red flags when you're talking to a client?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so the first red flag for me is if I get the sense they are coming to me for my price point, if they are what we call a price conscious consumer,
Mm-hmm.
and they are coming because they see that I am less expensive than the other copywriters out there. I mean, copywriting now, but it was content. That immediately signaled that they were making this decision based on money, not based on whether we were a good fit. And what correlates with that, so this is how you spot red flags. There's a little trigger of, oh, this behavior tends to correlate with these other behaviors. And the price conscious person correlates with being can I swear?
Yes.
Giant pain in the ass, because it's not enough for them to get a deal. They want to torture you also. And it's always like this. And people who ask for discounts, it's the same mentality. They'll ask for a discount for some reason. And because you're a nice, sweet person and probably a newer writer, you're like, oh, sure, I can give you a discount because I need money right now really, really bad.
Right.
And then they torture you.
Yes.
So anything around questioning the price point, asking for a discount, saying, oh, I saw that you are less expensive than this other option, run for the hills.
Mm-hmm.
You do not need their money. They will make you pay for it 10 times over.
Absolutely. And the other thing I'll add to that is if they come at you and they're like, I can make your career.
Oh my gosh, yes. No,
I can bring you more work than you can handle. Or if they ever say to you, you will not make it without me, run.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is classic narcissistic relationship behavior, and it also applies to professional relationships.
Absolutely. And Law and Order Criminal Intent referred to it. Yes, they referred to it as malignant narcissism.
Yes.
And that's honestly what it felt like when we were working for this individual. It was like a cancer, but yet at the same time we were scared to get chemo because we really believed as we were working for this person, we were helping her and we were building our careers.
Right. Well, and she would do this thing where she would recommend me to her friends, but she would share the very low rate she had asked for. So again, that correlation. And she was like, hey, this writer is amazing. I was so young. This writer is amazing and she'll work for this tiny amount of money. You should totally hire her. So she was helping build my client base, but she was helping build the client base with other cheapskates. So I was never making any money.
Yes. And the worst part for me is she didn't tell them what my rate was. She told them, contact this person for their rate. And then she would send me an email that said, please tell them this is your rate and I expect a 20% commission.
That is what she tried to pull with me. And that was I gave her a super hard no, and she did not oh my gosh, you cannot tell some people no.
But unfortunately, I was the dumbass that gave her the 20%. I was the dumbass or I like to call it the dumbash because Ashley, hello. I was the dumbass who gave her the 20%. So every bill that I submitted to her had a 20% discount based on the people that she brought me, who, as it turns out, I found out later, she was charging an obscene amount of money to promote them, quote unquote. And the reality was these are people who were working full-time jobs and hoping to make their businesses realities, hoping to make their businesses their full-time gigs, but they're paying her all this coaching money. And how can you ever turn your dreams into realities whenever you have what can only be described as a snake oil salesman telling you that you can make it? Yeah.
I wonder about that. But Yeah. So let's see, more red flags. That's probably my biggest. Another one that this comes up in copy more than it did in content, but maybe there's a content corollary.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody who comes in and says, I know this copywriting framework. I get a lot of the hero's journey folks.
Okay.
And I want this, this basically, I want you to do the thing this other copywriter is doing over here.
Mm-hmm.
And that tells me that they're not interested in my style, my philosophy, my differentiators, like basically the special sauce that makes my copywriting my kind of magic. They want somebody else's kind of magic. So that's another one where it's just, now I have the wisdom to just say no. That's not my specialty. I think you would be a better fit with somebody else.
Yes. And for anyone listening to this, I have to tell you, Lauren knows her shit. She is, I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say she is by far one of the best copywriters I've ever met in my life. She will take your voice and turn it into the message your ideal client needs to hear. So if you're listening to this and you're looking for a copywriter and you don't have all the red flags we're talking about,
right.
please message her because she's amazing.
Yeah, and I know that your listeners are probably a lot of writers as well. If you're curious about getting into copy, shoot me an email, book a little tea date, come to my craft and copy hour. We'll talk shop. I love doing that. Like no charge. Writers got to help other writers out.
Oh, girl, I will drop that in the show notes. For anybody who's listening to this, I think we're going to have this as blogyourfriends.com/happy hour.
Yes.
I haven't used that URL with anybody, but I think that's the most appropriate for this one because as you're thinking about all the red flags you're going through, because I know there are some ghost bloggers and some real bloggers who use their own names who are going to be listening to this going, I need a shot of tequila.
Content is so, yes. Actually, that used to be, I haven't done it in a while, but that used to be my method for getting through content revisions is I would have a shot of tequila, and for every stupid revision request by somebody who's like English isn't even their first language and they are correcting my grammar, I have a little shot. Like I don't have the whole shot. I sip it down slowly, but still.
Girl, I take the whole shot.
Oh my gosh. Is there a red flag? Is there a warning for this situation that I found myself in so much, especially in software as a service, because you're working for,
Should I pause this? Should I pause this?
Oh, no, we got this.
Okay.
So software as a service or any company that has more than one cook in the kitchen. So you're not just working with one person who's judging your work. You're working with a team. And that means multiple people are finding really dumb reasons not to like your copy. Some of them are good reasons, and keep those clients. If you have a client who's criticizing your work and they're actually helping you make it better, keep them. Put up with it. Don't drink too much. Keep them. They'll make you better. But there's this other kind that just comes up with the most bonkers revision requests that make the copy, that make the content worse. And it is usually a function of too many cooks in the kitchen. The old saying, too many cooks in the kitchen spoil the sauce, the broth, the soup.
Something like that.
Whatever you're cooking, they mess it up.
Yes. And I actually had this happen, say it was, I think it was 2019. It was a woman that her company, when I say she made multiple seven figures, that's not an exaggeration. She made a ridiculous amount of money. And so she believed that the words we said had to be a Stanford or a Harvard education level.
Oh, no.
Even though the people that were reading her website, I mean, they probably only had a high school education. If we're really being honest, if we're really looking at who was going to her website, but she was so convinced that it had to be Stanford or Harvard level that some of the feedback that she would give would be horrible. It would be like, okay, so I didn't realize that we were speaking to freshman high schoolers. So can you please just take this to the SAT level that I'm expecting?
Ouch.
Yes. And it was like, as I'm reading her feedback, all I could think was, do you not realize that your actual ideal customer who's reading your website, they don't understand SAT level. They're asking for the layman's terms. And she ended up firing our company that I was working for at the time because she was so pissed off that we couldn't give her what she wanted. But it's because she wasn't thinking about who was reading what she wanted.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that breaks my heart, because people like you and I, people who come to ghostwriters, they don't have time to write their blogs. And yet they come to us hoping that we have the golden ticket. We have the lottery numbers that will give them all the business that they're hoping for, but they quit thinking about their ideal customer. Mm. And
Well, that's actually a good sort of secondary way to start talking about boundaries, because it's not just, watch out for these people and avoid them. It's, okay, now you've got this other person. How do you set up boundaries that help them succeed and you succeed?
Yes.
This is a really good one. And it comes up so much where the business owner is making assumptions about their clients without actually having done the work to verify their assumptions. So that's when I like to, and this is a boundary, this is a soft boundary. I like to suggest, let's test this. Let me interview 2 of your very favorite customers.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So
I'm leaning in.
What you do, you make that suggestion and you sell it to them. This is going to make your content better. This is going to make it more tailored. It's going to bring in more of your ideal clients because we are focusing in on these 2 people you already love working with. And you get them to set up the interview. And whatever your style, I type really fast, so I take almost word for word notes, and I can give that client language back to the client. Like, look at this. This is exactly what your people said. This is exactly how they said it. This is the level of language we need to write towards. Mm-hmm. And, if you're not that fast with the keyboard, some people are faster, slower. You can record it and you can show them that way. And you can have a transcript made. It's relatively inexpensive. You can find websites that do that and not drive yourself crazy over it.
Otter.ai. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Right?
Otter.ai.
So you show them proof that this is the language the clients are using to talk about their problems, to talk about their hopes, to talk about their goals and what they enjoy about working with the person. You have your list of questions. And when you have that wealth of customer data, you can turn that into amazing content. You can turn that into amazing copy by literally copy and pasting those phrases. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the business owner can't argue. That's the years of customer success ghost blogging. So that's the beautiful thing about ghost blogging is you actually learn so much doing it.
Yes. And so it's like, what is your customer trying to do? And the sad thing is, so many people who want to do blogging, they have the wrong idea about what it is their customer's trying to do. They think, oh, well, they're just trying to pay me to do X, Y, or Z. When the reality is, it may be 1, 2, 3 or ABC. Let's do some Michael Jackson and Jackson 5. Yeah. So yeah, I really loved everything you just said.
Good one. I really like using that with all of my clients. In fact, one of the things I have them do, and this is a copy thing, but I have them take the draft and show it to their 5 favorite clients and just have the clients do a gut check on it. And a gut check is like, this resonates. Oh my gosh, where is the camera hiding in my house? Clearly you're watching me. Like, you understand my problem so well. So what resonates? What leaves them completely cold? Like, no, that's not me at all. I don't get it. And what confuses them? And again, it's that customer feedback just at that gut level of yes, no, confused. And that can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Okay. And the big thing is, I'm sure you feel this too. We want our clients to succeed.
Yes.
And it breaks our heart when we see them failing, because the whole point of bringing someone on board who can write the words that they want to say, but they can't quite articulate, is they need someone who can put their message out there. And if they don't have that, it's like it's a dagger to the heart.
Yeah. Well, and so often they're so good at what they do. Like, they wouldn't be in business if they weren't so good at what they do, if they weren't providing so much value. And it's communicating that value that falls to us. So, no pressure. We are kind of integral to their ability to succeed, because you can't succeed without words that convey the value you bring.
Yeah, I like to say that we give the voice to the voiceless, because they're so in their business that they don't see how they can improve their business. Before we started this, you were telling me about how you craft the perfect filter. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So this is a copywriting technique, but if you are a ghost blogger, you have your own website, you can do this on your own website. And when I'm talking about crafting a perfect filter, it is attracting the clients that you love and deeply want to work with, and actively repelling the people you don't like. So it's a 2-parter. And if you do it right, you get a wrong fit client maybe 10% of the time. 90% people who are contacting you are amazing, and you just have the best time together, and it's super great. So the way you do this, and it will work better the more experience you have, because you have to really dial into your track record of success. So make a list of all the clients that you've worked with that you've loved, and start analyzing, okay, what things did they have in common? What did our interactions have in common? And you start forming this picture of exactly who your ideal client actually is. So you write exactly for that person. And this is standard copy. This is always what we want to do. So the filtering part is actually happening with putting boundaries in your copy. So that can be a process page where you say, this is how I work. This is how much I charge. And that alone will get rid of people who want to create special deals. And you always have that to fall back on. It's like, oh no, I'm sorry, I don't offer a discount for this service. This is the price. It's on my website. And that's all you have to say. And then they go away. And as you work with more clients, you gather more data, you gather more information about who worked really well and why. And then you gather data about who didn't work and why. So one of the things that I recently instituted, I caught a client in my net who was a wrong fit, but he didn't seem like it. Mm-hmm. But what happened was, we didn't have this conversation. I am surmising what I suspect was the case, but I've seen it happen a lot. You'll get a client who gives you endless revisions because they want to make it perfect, and there is no such thing. And what's really happening there is the client is terrified to actually start their business. So they prolong the copy part for as long as humanly possible. They torture the copywriter, they torture their website designer with endless revisions because they're afraid to actually start. So that's what was happening with this guy. And it's one of those things where I was like, I quit copywriting. I'm just going to be like a housewife, a milliner. I'm going to start painting. Like I quit everything. I hate this so much. And what I did on my website is I put a revision limit. On my sales page, I'm like, this service comes with 2 revisions. After that, you pay additional.
Period.
Yeah. So I formed that service that had this sort of like penalty possibility for endless revisions. And I just stopped that. Like you get 2, that's included. And then you pay for the rest. And my other services, because I really hate revisions so much, my other services don't even come with revisions.
Yeah.
Revisions are extra, and that curtails that tendency of that certain type of client, and they understand it going in because you're laying out the ground rules immediately. So if they want endless revisions, they can go to Fiverr.
Yes. Oh God, I can totally relate to that, because I had a gal who she was forever changing her mind. Like she would give you the assignment and then you would send her what she said she wanted. And she would literally send back, oh, that's not what I wanted at all. And so I started recording her. I started saying, okay, every single interview we have, every single conversation we have must be on record. Because it got to a point where I was spending 3, 4, 5 hours with this woman, and I would submit her the article that she asked for blatantly, like verbatim. I would say every word she wanted. And when I sent it to her, she'd go, that's not at all what I asked for.
Oh no. Yeah.
And so the beauty of saying, okay, every conversation we have will be recorded. I could say at timestamp 10 minutes and 52 seconds, you said, I want X. I gave you X. Why are you going to go and ask for Y? Because
so how did that work? Did that work?
She fired me. That's a true story. She fired me. But what's funny is I got a message from her that what I did for her, because she asked for X, is she was not even, I'm from lying, I'm dying. She said, I am ranking number 1 on Google, and I never would have done that before if you hadn't done X.
Wow.
And yet she still wouldn't hire me back.
Yeah, some people do. Well, I don't think anybody really wants to hear the truth.
That's true. That's true. But isn't it so funny how if we don't put up these boundaries, we will be taken advantage of. And then the funniest part is they get mad at us that they don't get what they said they wanted, even though in first conversation, it's what they wanted.
Yeah. I love putting the ground rules on my website. I reinforce the ground rules in my contracts. You know, you send a contract and you don't have to stick to the straight legalese of whatever template you're using. You can put in your own stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put in, I need revision requests back within 1 month. You get 2. I have a clause that I've never enforced. In fact, it's probably unenforceable, but it's there to show intent. But it's, if you don't pay me within 2 weeks of receiving the final draft, there's going to be an extra fee added, a late fee.
Unfortunately, I have had to start incurring that late fee, because even though you say there's going to be a late fee, people are like, oh, I got time. She does this for fun.
Oh my gosh. That's some of the toughest boundaries I've had to put in place, is how to get money out of clients who are very, very late in paying. And I've had suggestions from friends like, have a separate email account that's from your accountant
Mm-hmm.
and have them bill. Now, I like to do this through PayPal. PayPal, you can set up automatic reminders, but that's really just going to bug them. And that's a hard thing to guard against too, because I never could figure out who was going to actually pay and who was not.
Yes.
There's so many shenanigans around payment, especially for content, especially at a certain price point. Now everything is automated in my site, and they click a button and they prepay.
Ooh, so you're prepaying everybody?
Yeah, except for the full service folks, but it's still a 50% deposit.
Now, see, that's smart. That's really smart.
Yeah, well, that is smartness that was earned through a lot of not getting paid.
I can relate. Ugh. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand, like, some people. Oh, and my favorite was a person who told me she couldn't afford me. I gave her a blog post idea. It was brilliant. Like, when I say it was brilliant, it was brilliant. And so she's like, oh, well, I really can't afford your fees. And then the went and wrote it and sent it to me. And she's like, so could you please edit this and tell me what you think?
Oh my gosh.
You want to know what I sent back to her?
Yeah.
I sent back, well, yes, but it's that fee plus 10% because I charge extra for people for editing. And my husband was like, yeah, that's the asshole tax.
Pretty much.
Oh, I was so pissed.
Wow.
Where did these people, like, maybe they're made in a factory and we just don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think I've certainly gotten into a better class of clients going for conscious entrepreneurs, heart-centered entrepreneurs. I mean, you find those qualifying statements of the kind of entrepreneur that you want to work with, people who have ethics and values, you know, in large fonts. You do get a better class of people.
Okay. So, I'm curious, what is it that you do in your writing practice that brings you the kind of clientele that you're willing to work with?
So I changed my niche entirely 3 years ago because the software as a service folks, they were just driving me batty with their jargon and their revisions and their teams and their, you got to be on Slack all the freaking time. No, gosh, no, that is not the creative process. So they were driving me nuts, and I wanted to find the clients that brought me the most joy, the people that I really enjoyed working with. Otherwise, I was going to quit. That's where I was. It's like, things have got to change or I'm going to quit. And so I did the thing where you make a list of your favorite clients, you figure out what they have in common. I figured out they were coaches, they were teachers, they were people helping other people to live their best lives. So that was the big shift. But since then, I've been, you know, dialing it in, you know, gathering more information, figuring out exactly the characteristics of the people that I love working with. And they tend to be, you know, heart-centered, conscious entrepreneurs. They hate bro marketing tactics. So all of the marketing tactics that just strike us as used car salesman icky, they hate that. They're repelled by it. And that is how I created my brand for the people who have been told this is how you do marketing, and they hate it because it feels icky, it feels false, it feels smarmy. So my brand is the opposite of that. It's like, no, you can market yourself in ways that feel good to you, feel good to them. You're not talking anybody into things. You're not doing a hard sell, not even doing a soft sell, but you're selling a lot more, and you're attracting wonderful people who love that quality about you. So it's, you know, it's sort of like our common enemy is one of the qualities that I'm looking for in my clients, and that ensures a pretty good fit. And I also do a values fit, and you do a values fit just by stating your values on your website. So if you go to my website, I have, it's in the footer actually, and it says values, and it just says my 3 core values as a person and as a business owner. And just having a value statement, it sends a message to other people where if values are important to them, they'll want to hire me because we have that in common.
You mean I don't have to take a neuro-linguistic programming course to be able to get my ideal client?
Oh, heavens, no. Although that would be fascinating.
I can't tell you how many people who have sent me inquiries who are like, oh, I studied NLP and so neuro-linguistic programming. And they're like, oh, I studied NLP and I know how to find my ideal client. Really? Because you think
not what that's for.
You think that scamming people or tricking them into paying you is going to get you the results you want? How about no?
And the thing, you could actually write that. You could write that as a blog post on your website. You could write that on your services page if that is an inquiry that you get a lot. If you're into NLP and you think that is the answer to copywriting and attracting clients, we're not a good fit. You could say that.
Oh, I love that. So you're telling me that if I was a baby copywriter, I can say no?
Oh, yes. And you can say no up front. You can say no before they even ask you a question. And that's what a fit check is.
But Lauren, I have to pay the bills. Why can't I just take every job?
Oh my gosh. I have never been so poor as when I took every job.
Say it a little louder for the people in the back.
I have never been so poor as when I took every job from every type of client, every business. I mean, giant inflatable water slides.
What?
Right? I have written for literally every kind of business, including a giant inflatable water slide company who, by the way, did not pay.
Okay.
See, some things just require hazard pay.
And asshole tax.
And asshole tax.
Yes. So, okay. So let's wrap this up with the big takeaways for the baby bloggers who are listening to this, who are like, okay, I need income, but I also need boundaries. What would you say are the top boundaries a baby blogger copywriter needs?
Okay, top boundaries are you need to know who is a good fit for working with you, who you enjoy working with. And you can actually put this on your website. This is for you if, and list all the good qualities. This is not for you if, and list all the qualities you hate. And you can actually put that on your sales page, on your services page, on your homepage. Like pick a page, you can put it there. Don't put it everywhere because that's crazy. But pick a page and just line it up for them, and the people who share those good qualities will contact you, and the people who see those other qualities and go, oh, that's me, they'll go away and never darken your doorstep. The second one is don't be afraid to turn away work, because believe it or not, and this is not woo-woo stuff, this is, proven through hard experience, the more you say no to wrong fit, the more right fit will actually come to you. Like the money will come, and it'll come because you've made space by not driving yourself crazy and filling up your schedule with clients who are terrible. Your contracts are your friend. Just outline what you want, what the parameters are, and for goodness sakes, put a limit on how many revisions come with each service. 2 is a good number. And try to do it in 1. And don't be afraid to make it a policy. Your policies are also your friend. Make it a policy to charge extra for additional revisions. And that usually encourages your clients to get it done in less time. I think those are my big ones.
One of the things I will drop in the show notes that everyone needs to read is Denise Duffield Thomas. If you don't know who she is also known as Lucky Bitch. She has the most amazing posts on boundaries. and I'm obsessed with her. I'm actually a member of her Lucky Bees. I am in her money boot camp and her sacred money archetypes. So I will drop all of that in the show notes. Everything you were saying, I was hearing Denise in my ears. She's a big advocate for saying, I serve, I deserve. And that's one thing that all copywriters need to know is if you are serving your client, you deserve to be paid. You deserve to be treated like a person, not just a person who has to do a service. You are more than just a service. You are more than just a paycheck. You are giving value. You are giving a voice to the people that you are serving. And I absolutely am so excited. I'm so excited about everything that we talked about here today because, I mean, there are so many people that I have talked to who have worked for the shitty clients. They have worked for the assholes. And you don't have to. I mean, you do not have to write for crappy fees and be treated like you're worth nothing. Because when we are giving people what they actually need, they recognize it. They want it. And there are some people that are out there that are jerks and they will not pay you what you're worth. They will not treat you like you need to be treated, like you deserve to be treated. But you are still providing a service. You still deserve to be paid a valuable wage.
Yeah, well, and treated as a valuable member of their marketing team, because that is what you are.
Absolutely. And so if you're listening to this and you were thinking, oh, well, the reason that they don't want to pay me is because I'm a shit writer, that might not be true. Okay. Let's be honest. It could be true. You could be a shit writer. It could be true, but don't get your validation from bullshit sources. Think about what you're doing, what you're providing, and go after the people who are hearing your message, hearing what you're trying to deliver, and work with those people. Work with the people who are not jerks.
Right? That is boundary number one. Work with people who are not jerks.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is, if you have been writing for 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years, odds are you know what you're doing. And if you don't, there are resources out there that you can figure out what you're doing. And it doesn't mean that just because you are learning a skill, you have to work for jerks.
Yeah.
If you take nothing else away from this episode, please understand you don't have to work for jerks. Hashtag no jerks.
Maybe that's the name of the episode.
So we'll call it episode Lauren with no jerks.
I like it.
I'm just kidding. We won't call it that. We'll call it something else. But is there anything that I didn't ask you, Lauren, that you wish I had?
Oh gosh. Boundaries is the biggest struggle of my life. I am a compulsive overgiver. I will basically throw myself under the bus for any and all of my clients. So yeah, it's been a journey to realize that to do my best work, I can't afford to do that. So they deserve my best work. That means I've got to create the boundaries that protect my ability to do that. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay. I want to ring this back. I want to pull it back. I have to ask you, what was it that gave you the confidence to have boundaries?
So I may have mentioned this, but I work with a lot of life coaches.
Okay.
And when you work with a lot of life coaches, sometimes you do some trades, and sometimes you just learn what they've got to say because you have to write it in ways their clients will understand. I've learned a lot about doing, the deep inner shadow work, where you are dealing with your, inner child shit, and you are figuring out why you do what you do and why you keep shooting yourself in the foot, and figure out tools to stop doing that. So I I have a business coach now. I have an energy coach now. People that I've written for and I've loved them so much, I'm now paying them. But yeah, to be an entrepreneur, you've got to do some inner work around money mindset is a big one. You know, do I deserve to be paid fairly? Do I deserve to be paid at all? And how do I deserve to be treated? And fighting that terror of, if I set a boundary, will they scream at me? Will they abuse me? Will they hate me forever? Will I be cast out from the tribe? Will I starve and die in a hole? Like, these are the sort of lizard brain fears that we're working with when we set a boundary.
Okay, so one of them recommend, Lauren, that you think is just fantastic for boundaries?
Oh gosh.
On the spot.
Yeah. I'm working with a shaman right now.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Shamans are the best. They're so cool. It's actually really difficult to write about shamanism at the moment because unless you are an indigenous person, you're not allowed to use that term for what you do or you risk blowback. So it's complicated. It's one of those words that's shifting right now. It's an interesting time, but she specializes in boundary work, and creating energetic boundaries specifically. So not, if somebody comes at you and they are just filled with hateful, negative, sad, horrible energy, it doesn't have to affect you horribly. Like, you can just be okay in your center and not have that be an issue for you. And that's very difficult for me. I'm sort of a sponge for other people's energies. So if they're coming at me and they've had a bad day and they're taking it out on me, like, I take it super personally. I don't anymore, but I used to. And, her name is, let's see. So I should preface this by saying I work with a lot of coaches at one time.
Do you want to send me links? Would that be the easiest way to do this?
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Okay. So Lauren is going to be sending me a bunch of links that I can share in the show notes. And I think that if you are listening to this and you are curious about how you can handle writing for people with boundaries, you should totally check out our show notes for this.
Yeah, this is super fun.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Great podcast energy.
Because I get so excited. To ask you is, Lauren, will you be my bloggy friend?
Totally. Absolutely. BFFs forever.
I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me.